Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology, helping you to see the larger story of your life with horoscopes that emphasize the cycles of the moon and the slower moving planets. Today, you're watching your horoscope for the collective for the new moon in the sign of Scorpio, which occurs on Friday, November 1st, 2024 at 8:47 a.m. Eastern Time or 5:47 a.m. Pacific Time, depending upon where you live. Now, what I think is going on here at this new moon in Scorpio is that we have been trying to step into some new habits and new behaviors for a while where we do things, period, but where we also do things in a way that are faster, easier, quicker, more independent, and more in our best interest. And I think that's been really hard for us to do that in a very consistent way because we've been very scared to do it and had a bunch of other challenges. And I think this new moon in Scorpio is giving us that fighting spirit. That's what I'm going to say, is giving us that fighting spirit here to fight these old habits and to confront them head on so that we do not fall backwards and can continue on in this different way and permanently change and transform to embody new habits, which I think can ultimately be very empowering here, especially as we move forward in the energy. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned. Before I hop into it, though, I did just want to remind you all that I'm still partnering with a really cool astrology website, transitcal.com, as you can see it here on the screen. Basically, what you do is you go to this website, transitcal.com. You got to sign up and you enter in your birth chart information here into the website. And what it will do then is create a personalized transit calendar to your natal chart that'll show you all the aspects that are being made between the current sky, which is what I talk about here in my horoscopes, and in your natal chart. Not only will it do that, but that calendar will integrate with your Google Calendar that you already have, your Apple Calendar or Outlook, and you can also see it too on a web version here on your desktop and on mobile here to be able to see what's going on in your chart. Not only that, but the events of each transit that will then populate here in your calendars also have some details in those events about what time the event is occurring. Obviously, it's a calendar, what day it's occurring. Here also some interpretation guides to help you start to make some of the interpretations yourself to figure out here what's going on, and some information too about the Sabian symbols here that can be really cool to do. So this is where you can go here. You do have to pay a little bit for it here, but I've got you all. I've got you a code here. You can use my code Ethereal15 and you can get 15% off here some of these calendars, which I believe give you all the transits you need for a year. I also wanted to show you here just really quickly. Here's the web version of the calendar that you can see. You can click on a transit. It'll show you here the event date, the time, some other information about it here too that's going on. Not only that, and I should note, this is the web-based version. You don't even have to have a Google Calendar or Apple Calendar to get this. Here, if you don't have that or don't want to connect it, you can see this any way that you like once you log into the website. And then here, of course, is my Google Calendar that I have for the week of some things going on. I got nothing going on today, it looks like. Sometimes that's nice. And then what do we have tomorrow? The Sun conjunct Pluto. Nope, we got the Sun sextile Neptune here. So this is my chart, so you can see it here. I also want to note as well that I've been planning, I plan my astrology notes ahead of time, obviously, so I'm already thinking about them for the astrological year starting next April of 2025, and I've been looking at a lot of the transits going on there, and I have to say there are a lot of things that I like about next year from April of 2025 to about September of 2025. I think extremely good in a way that we haven't seen and we haven't been talking about for a while if you've been following my horoscopes here. And I think it's very good because a lot of planets are going to be changing signs, especially Jupiter and Cancer. It's sign of exaltation here, and Saturn and Neptune, once they enter Aries, which isn't the best conjunction to have, are going to sextile Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini for many months here. And I always interpret sextiles in a mostly positive way. So if you want to start to get an idea of your transits and maybe even start to figure out how to learn astrology, it's always a good time to do it, I think, when transits are positive, when there's some good things going on, because sometimes when we've got negative aspects, our emotions get involved and it's hard to see things clearly. So I highly recommend this just in general, but it might be extra helpful the next year when we've got some good things going on to give you a little bit more of a boost and make learning astrology a little bit easier here as well. So please take a look at this website, transitcal.com. Sign up, use my code ethereal15 for 15% off there. Now, let's go ahead and let's hop into the horoscope here for today. So let's do that. What I always like to do here when starting the horoscope is to just place on the chart what it is that I'm referring to here so that you can see it and follow along with me. So let me do this now. This video is obviously for the new moon in Scorpio, so I have adjusted my chart accordingly. I know that because I've got the sun and the moon here at the same degree, 9 degrees here in the same sign of Scorpio. And when that happens, the sun and the moon are together making a conjunction that is what is considered a new moon here in the sign of Scorpio. Hey, now what is this about in a very broad general sense here? Sorry about my recording. It looks like my computer's having some issues, so just hang in there with it. Might happen some more. But what is that about here? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings, new energy, and fresh starts here, and give us more of a boost to do things in a new and a different way that maybe we haven't really tried before here. Okay, since it is especially the start of a new lunar cycle. What is it that we are trying to do in a new and different way, or get more of a boost here to just do new energy, a fresh start in? Well, that is in Scorpio, because that's where both the sun and the moon are. What is Scorpio about? Well, one thing that Scorpio is about, especially because it does correlate to the planet Pluto, is about permanent change and transformation here that's going on. And I want to emphasize permanent. None of this little transformation, none of this little change, maybe here, maybe not. Permanent change and transformation here in some part of our lives that's going on. So that's the first thing you need to know. We're getting a new start here to make some kind of big permanent change in our lives here that's going on. Not only that, but I also want to note as well that Scorpio is also considered somewhat of a relationship sign, especially being on this side of the zodiac, right after Libra as well. So usually some of these changes, big changes that we're going to make, are going to involve relationships here as well and how we interact with them. Not only that, but Scorpio as well is also considered to be a money sign as well. Finances, our own finances, or how we share finances with other people here as well. So in addition to us making big permanent change at this time and it being connected to relationships, it also very well could be connected to money and your financial situation here. And not only that, but Scorpio too also has to do with our own emotions, being a water sign, our own deep desires here as well. Things that we want, how we kind of approach life from the inside out. So not only are there some big permanent changes that are being made that might involve relationships and money, but those especially also involve our own sense of self and our emotions and how we feel about life and approach life from the inside out here as well. Not only that, but another thing I want to note here about Scorpio is that yes, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, here, but also back in the day by the ancient astrologers, it was also considered to be ruled by Mars as well. And that was because Pluto wasn't discovered yet here too. And because Scorpio is considered to be ruled by Mars, I also think there is a little bit of a direct nature to Scorpio that's not afraid to take risks, and is a little fearless. And you kind of have to be, because Scorpio also deals with the taboo topics and things like that. So I also want to mention here too, there is something about this new moon as well that's kind of bringing more of our fearlessness or more of our courage up to maybe do things that have been hard for us to do before in some sort of way, or to confront issues head on that it is that we might have had with relationships, with money, with ourselves, kind of in all the ways, so that we can make this permanent change and transformation happen that needs to happen. Okay, not only that, but speaking of deeply confronting things, Scorpio as well, being a water sign and a fixed water sign, is also a lot about our subconscious, things that are going on underneath the surface that are maybe triggering us or affecting other things that may be going on here as well. So not only do I think that this new moon is about us trying to make some permanent change and transformation with our relationships, our money, our own kind of self and deep desires, and really getting the courage up to kind of face that head on. But it's also about us getting the courage to really do the deep inner emotional work as well, to overcome the emotional resistances or hang-ups around this change that it is that we need, right? And to face and confront that. Not only that, but another thing that I want to note as well, Scorpio is a fixed sign, which means it stays fixed in things no matter how long it takes. So I think that's another component of what's going on here at this new moon in Scorpio, is that we're getting the courage up to make this permanent change and face any issue that's in the way head on, especially internally and emotionally. And we'll do it however long it takes. We're getting the wherewithal to confront these issues preventing us from change and transformation, however long it takes. We're going to stay fixed in it. We're going to stick with it, till we get to the very end here. And not only that, but the last thing I think I want to mention for now about Scorpio is that I do believe that Scorpio can have a lot to do with our own personal power in a lot of ways. Especially once we deal with some of the other stuff here that needs to go on, because a lot of times once you do make permanent change and transformation, you do tend to feel stronger and more powerful. So in addition to all of that going on, right, that we're trying to make permanent change and transformation with relationships, money, our own sense of self, and to face, any subconscious triggers or issues in the way head on and confront those. But that's going to help us, I think, after this point to tap more into our personal power here, and to embrace more of that, no matter how long it takes for us to really get here and make that happen. Okay, and that's it. I think that's all I'm going to say for now about the main themes of this new moon in Scorpio. Now, before I move more into the specifics here, I do like to kind of zoom out for a minute and go back in time before going forward here about this new moon in Scorpio. And I like to go back in time to give you more of the context here of how we got here and of why these things are now coming up to be felt, lived through, and experienced. So I'm going to do that. If you don't want to hear that because it can get kind of long, or you're over it, or it's confusing or whatever, it's totally fine with me. Just go ahead and skip this part of the video. I put the timestamps in this video just for that reason here, so that you can kind of navigate the video in whatever way that you like, since I know that sometimes they can get kind of long. So there's that, but I'm going to go ahead and hop into it now. What I'm going to start with is, of course, going to be back to a very big, rare, challenging alignment that happened a few years ago now that I think we're still feeling, which is going to be when Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter came conjunct here in the sign of Capricorn around January to April of 2020. Okay, what happened around that time, right? We had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter come into a conjunction. This is a challenging thing here because Saturn and Pluto can be difficult, being more outer planets, especially too because Jupiter was involved in Capricorn, a sign it doesn't like to be in. Oh, and I need to note the South Node was there as well. And the South Node can also be a challenge too, indicating things that we're stuck in that are no longer useful for us at this time. Not only was that challenging, but it was also a bit rare because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct every 35 years and not always with Jupiter there in a sign it doesn't like and the South Node there. So somewhat of a rare difficulty here. What was that was going on? Well, Pluto is about permanent change and transformation here, and with Saturn in the structure of our lives, and in Capricorn too, the structure of our lives, the direction it was going in here, that's going on. And Jupiter expanded that, making it a very big change that needed to be made, with Jupiter being a very big planet that might have been difficult with the South Node. Hey, what was this big permanent change that was needed? And really, I read that as endings, big permanent ending, because you got to end things before you can start new things here. I think that big permanent change that we were making to end something was something that, again, with this alignment being about every 35 years, something in our lives here that maybe had been going on for 35 years that either we did not like or had just simply outgrown. So that's the start of our story here, January to April 2020. We realized something in my life for the past few years I either never liked, or I did at one point, I've just outgrown it, and I need to make big, uncomfortable endings here in order to move on. And we started to do that. That then leads me to the next alignment that I want to mention about 2 years after that, also somewhere around April to May of 2022. Around that time, we had a new moon solar eclipse here in the sign of Taurus on the North Node. That to me was meant to be a helpful thing. here because it was on the North Node, which I tend to see more positively as more helpful about our purpose in life at that time. Okay, what was the good thing going on? New moons are about new beginnings. Taurus is about fertility. It's about fertility. It's about abundance. It's also a sign at the very beginning of the zodiac about kind of new and different things and a more fertile environment for that here. And it's also a sign of stability and security. So I think in April of 2022, we started to feel as though we had ended enough things the past 2 years that were no longer working for us here, that we didn't want anymore, so that we could, so that we were now in a more fertile place to grow after this point, and to maybe after that bring new things into our lives. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention that happened about 2 weeks after that, somewhere also around April, might have been May, but close, April to May of 2022. And 2 weeks later, we had a full moon lunar eclipse here on the South Node in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, this was a little bit more challenging here, a little bit more challenging because the south node is there, and the south node just tends to be a little bit more difficult because it indicates things that we are maybe stuck in, habits and patterns that are just no longer good for us. So this was a challenge here. What was the challenge? Well, the full moons sure can be about stepping into things, but they can also be about releasing things. And the South Node does have to do with old habits and patterns that have been keeping us stuck, that are difficult to release. So this is us feeling stuck again. Maybe I need to say that. This is us feeling stuck again and trying to release habits and patterns that aren't working for us and still feeling challenged. What are these habits and patterns that we need to release? Well, these are going to be Scorpio things, because that's where the South Node in the eclipse is. Scorpio has a lot to do with change. So we were still stuck making too much change, and we needed to stop that, right? Because we already spent 2 years doing that. Making change, more change is just going to bring chaos. So we needed to stop making so many changes here if we wanted to build something new, because you can't build something new if you're still ending and tearing a lot of things down. Not only did we need to stop making big changes, and it's hard to do because we've been doing it for 2 years, but we also needed to stop as well with the Scorpio, indulging some kind of deep, intense, and somewhat negative emotions as well that's going on here, because negative emotions aren't conducive to building a new, better life, right? If you have these negative emotions, they can creep in on the new stuff here. And we had a problem getting rid of those, right? Which is understandable based on what we'd been through in the 2 years prior. And not only that, but Scorpio as well is also a money sign. So this could have also indicated some money challenges here as well. We could have also been trying to get rid of debt and overcome some challenges with money, also preventing us from moving forward into a new experience. That could have been a result of some of the endings that we made, which was also a little bit hard. In addition to that, Scorpio too can be a relationship sign. And again, I'm going more negative because the South Node was there too intertwined with people, or giving our power too much away to people that aren't in our best interest here too. So we could have also still been too intertwined with people, or just giving too much of our power away, especially if we'd felt disempowered from the endings that had occurred in the years later. That was really, really hard. So I think that's what happened there around April in 2022, right? We ended a lot of stuff that we no longer was meant for us the past 35 years. We were in a much better place to move forward, but even though we were in a much better place to move forward, we were still reeling emotionally from what had happened the past 2 years, and still stuck in this change, transformation energy that's not conducive to building something new, and still had some maybe money and relationship challenges that still needed to be resolved from that time and more fully worked through. That was hard. And if I can be honest with you, I think it pretty much took us pretty much all of 2022 to really figure that out and get rid of these habits. It really wasn't until that following year, also somewhere around April of 2023, that I think we started to work some things out. Okay, I think that April 2023 was an important time for a few reasons. For one, April is the start of the astrological year. It's the start of the zodiac Aries season, which does bring a shift in the energy. Not only that, but we also had a new moon solar eclipse in Aries at that time, the first sign of the zodiac about new beginnings, and Pluto and Saturn had just changed signs as well. Pluto into Aquarius briefly and Saturn into Pisces, also bringing new energy or a shift in the energy here to help us work through some things. Okay, that was going on. So I think in April of 2023, we finally resolved some of these things that were holding us back. Then the constant change, to stop doing that, the negative emotions, to stop indulging as much in those here, and some of the money and relationship issues as well, to stop with those in our power way, and felt as though we could start again. All these planet changing signs. Just start again doing what we wanted to do in April of 2022, moving forward on a new fertile beginning to bring more new things into our lives. Okay, I think that was a fine thing, but even though that was a fine thing, there was another issue that came up shortly after, somewhere around May, I believe, of 2023. Around that time, May, June, of 2023, we had Mars in the sign of, not Mars, sorry, Mars is here now. We had Venus in the sign of Leo, where it went retrograde there. Okay, and that was a bit of a challenge because it's a planet, especially a personal planet, which does influence more of our daily experience here, going retrograde. And retrograde is a symbol also of feeling stuck, of not being able to move forward, right? The planet's appearing to move backwards here as well. So this was us still not able to move forward on that new, better beginning we'd been trying to get to, even though we felt as though we were ready for the second time here. Why is it that we were still stuck and unable to move forward? Well, it was for a different reason than the prior year, right? The prior year was too much change, too much negative emotions, the money, debt, relationships, all of that. No, this is a different reason. It's a Leo reason, because that's where Venus was retrograde. Right? What is Leo about? Well, Leo is a lot about our happiness. It's about our joy. It's about our pleasure. It's about doing things just because we love it. Not because we have to, not because we need to. It's about doing things because it makes us happy here. And with Venus retrograde there, we weren't honoring our heart. We weren't tapping into what we really loved, what we're really joyful about, and what truly made us happy here. And I think we weren't tapping into it because Pluto did retrograde back into Capricorn at that time. I think we were a little too stuck in emergency mode. To me, Capricorn, when negative can go that way from the past few years of like something bad's going to happen any minute, something's going to end, something's going to go on, money. I think we were still kind of stuck in the emergency mode here and weren't really tapping into our heart and the way that it is that we needed, which was a problem. Why? Because we can't really move forward into a new experience that's better for us, which is what we're trying to do, if our heart isn't there, because our heart is what makes a new experience better, right? What makes one experience better than the other? A feeling, your heart, your happiness here. So this was a problem here and that we needed to resolve. We needed to go back to bring more of our heart and our happiness and our joy into our situation here that wasn't there. That was a challenge. And I think I need to note as well, Pluto was square the nodes around that same time, especially towards July and August of 2023. That did require us to make to make another big change. To make another big change, not a lot of change, right? Because we're trying to do less of that. Not a lot of big change, but it did require, I think, another big change or two by the end of this Venus retrograde in Leo to end things that were not happy, that did not speak to our emotions, that were not fun for us here, and to create things that were more fun, which I think we did do at some point in 2023. That then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention. I'm going to bring it up to this year. We had another alignment, Jupiter conjunct Uranus here in the sign of Taurus, also around April and May. I think this one was more May of 2024. Okay, I did consider this to be somewhat of a helpful thing, even though I know that Uranus doesn't like to be in Taurus, but I considered it to be somewhat helpful because Jupiter was there, and Jupiter's fine in Taurus here too. So I saw this as more positive. What was good about this? Well, the interesting thing, right, is that Jupiter and Uranus made a conjunction in Taurus, where we had that eclipse in April of 2022, 2 years prior. So this was us, again, for a third time, feeling more ready to move forward into a new and better experience in life here, without some old stuff that we had just ended. Not only that, but I think this as well was something good, right? Jupiter can be about gifts and good luck happening unexpectedly. Uranus to start to get us on that better path, right? To kind of throw us a bone for our struggles. This wasn't a huge unexpected good thing, right? Because Uranus doesn't really like to be in Taurus, and a conjunction is something new and small, but something, a small little good unexpected bone being thrown to us to help us move forward again for a third time into a new experience. And I think that good little bone that was being thrown to us had to do with Taurus themes, something good with money to help you maybe figure that out, or something good with your body, your appearance, or your health, with Taurus being an earth sign here that was going on, or something good with your self-worth here as well, and confidence that I thought was great. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which is going to be now more towards the new moons. Okay, we had a new moon shortly after that in around June of this year, June of 2024, which was, of course, a new moon in Gemini here. What was that about? New moons are about new beginnings. Gemini is a lot about ideas, thoughts about, I think, what we could do next now that we're in a better place here that we're trying to work out. So that's what happened there. I'm going to try again a third time to get into a new experience. Let's hope this one works. Now I've got a lot of ideas about what I could do next. Then we get to the next alignment. I want to mention the next new moon after that, obviously in Cancer, July of this year, 2024. Okay, new moons are about new beginnings. Cancer is a lot about foundations and making sure something's truly solid and truly grounded. And I think what we started to realize after that new moon in Cancer is that we had a lot of ideas but about what we want to do next to move forward and do a new experience in life, but either none of these ideas felt really grounded or felt really good or felt really solid here, or some ideas were good, but we didn't really know which ones were the best to pursue and which way it is that we really needed to pursue them here. That was going on, that was making us just a little confused, right? Again, and still hesitate and still not sure of what we want to do. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention. Somewhere after that August of 2024, here we had a new moon, obviously, in the next sign of Leo. Here, what is that about? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings. Leo is more about courage. It's a lot about boldness. It's also a lot about the heart of the matter, focusing more on that. Not only that, but I also want to note as well that that Leo connects very well to the North Node in Aries, since they're both fire signs, and the North Node is extremely important to me about our purpose at this time. And Aries is a lot about action, taking action. Not only that, it's about taking action in ways that are short, quicker, easy, more independent, less committal, and more in our best interest here that was going on. And to do that, because that's going to protect us against making a wrong choice, right? If we don't know what idea to choose, but we do the one that requires the less commitment, that's the easiest thing to do. Okay, if you do a wrong thing, it doesn't matter, you can just fix it. So I think what happened in August of this year, which is just not too long ago, I think we realized, okay, the way that we need to approach all of these ideas is more experimental. Let's just try it out. Let's just see how it goes. Shorter, easier, quicker, less committal, something we can do alone, so that if it doesn't work out, we didn't make that huge of a mistake. It's not a big deal. We can fix it, move on. Okay, we started to learn that. Then that leads me to the next new moon about a month later, September 2024, obviously here in the next sign over, the new moon in Virgo, around the time that Mercury, I think, was finishing up retrograde between Virgo and Leo as well. What was that about? New moons are about new beginnings. Virgo is a lot about health and healing, or fixing things, cleaning things up that are in the way. And I think what we realized at that new moon in Virgo is that, yeah, we want to go about now doing things in life in a shorter, easier, quicker way here that's going on. But we have a lot of internal hangups around doing things in the shorter, quicker, and easier way here that's going on, keeping us stuck still, not choosing an idea, indecision, overthinking, people pleasing, making things complicated here. And then a lot of the issues that we had in the way preventing us from doing what we needed to do here was guilt and shame. Maybe we felt that doing things short, easy, quick is selfish, or is silly, or is too easy. There's a lot of guilt and shame there. There was also, which to me is a Virgo thing, there was also fear around, being courageous and taking these bold risks in this different approach as well, that we took the time to resolve. Needed to take the time to resolve. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here, which was the next new moon that came after, which was a solar eclipse here in the next sign over, Libra, October as well, 2024, just 4 weeks ago. Okay, what was that about? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings. Solar eclipses superpower that. It was on the south node about releasing old habits and things that are holding us back. And Libra is in Libra. Libra is a lot about hesitating and decision, which I already said there was some overthinking or people pleasing or waiting on other people in order to do things. So I think what happened around 4 weeks ago, October 2024, is we said, okay, we got the correct approach now, how to do things in this new experience, quick, easy, short, all of that. We've healed some of the issues, the guilt and the shame, the fear. Now we got to really let go of these old traits and these old things that are keeping us stuck from moving forward in this different way that we have. And these old traits are overthinking, hesitating, people pleasing, all of that. That then leads me now to this new moon, of course, of which this video is for now, November 1st, November of 2024, when this one happens. It's a new moon, new beginning, Scorpio, permanent change and transformation here. And I think permanent change and transformation to release the overthinking, the indecision, the hesitation, and to step into the new habits faster, easier, quicker, shorter, so that we can get this new chapter in life that we've been trying to get to since 2020 on the freaking road, and make the third try a lucky one. Make the third try, the third time's a charm here to finally move forward with some of these things here that it is that we want to be doing. Okay, and I think that's it. That's all I'm going to say there for now. I'm just going to repeat that really quickly before we move on in some kind of way. What do you think has been going on here since 2020 to now? Is that we have been trying to really end an old chapter of life that's persisted for many years and decades that maybe we didn't like or outgrown, and step into a new and different one that's going to be better for us here. And it's been kind of hard to do for the past 4 years. It's been hard to do because there's been a lot of endings that's needed first and foremost. And because once we made the endings, there were still a lot of negative emotions here that we needed to also resolve, and a feeling of not being happy that we needed to work through. And I think we finally worked through all of those things here, that now this year we're feeling more ready to move into a new experience again here, with a different approach and a better approach that's going to make it work this time, that's doing things in a shorter, easier, quicker way. And this new moon in Scorpio is about us getting more of that drive and courage and strength up here to really make the permanent change that's needed to more fully embrace this new experience that we've been trying to since 2020, and make it a real reality here. Okay, and that's it. Because that's it, I'm now going to move forward or zoom in more to this specific aspects here that the new moon in Scorpio itself is making and that are happening around it, to give you more of the details. So I'm going to do that here. Now, obviously, I maybe should start with the new moon in Scorpio itself, but I think what I really want to start with before zooming in on the new moon in Scorpio is 2 or 3 alignments that are happening around it. So I want to look at that. And I think the first one I actually want to start with is going to be here. This happened a few days ago, but still in effect. Mercury in Scorpio making an opposition over here to Uranus and Taurus. So let's talk about this. What is this about? I'm going to interpret this just neutrally at first here that's going on. But Mercury, let's start there, has a lot to do with our thoughts, our own mind, things that we're thinking about. It also has to do with communication, how we communicate with other people, or news that we may receive, right? Which is usually a result of communication that either we do with someone else or someone else does with us. Right? And it's connecting with Uranus. Uranus can make this sudden and unexpected, a sudden and unexpected thought or idea, a sudden and unexpected conversation with somebody, or sudden and unexpected news that either you initiate or someone initiates with you. Not only that, but Uranus as well is a lot about breaking free from things that have been keeping us stuck as just a principle. So I think a lot of this unexpected news, conversations, thoughts, or ideas is how we can break free from something that maybe has been a part of our lives for a while, that's been keeping us stuck, that we don't want anymore here. That's been going on here at this time. And I think what we might be breaking free from, maybe to give you a thought with Mercury here in Scorpio, is going to be more relationship stuff, right? Scorpio is a relationship sign, more money stuff that isn't working for us. Scorpio is a money sign, maybe even habits. Mercury, since it correlates not only to Gemini, an air sign, about our ideas and communication, but Virgo, an earth sign, about our habits and routines, this can also be us letting go of more habits and routines that also have been holding us back and breaking free from those. And I think letting go of more stuff that correlates to the South Node in Libra, because the South Node is about letting go, and we did just have an eclipse there not too long ago. Here, that's going to have about at least 6 months impact. In letting go of those things we're letting go of are Libra traits: hesitating, overthinking, indecision, people pleasing here as well. So that to me is one big thing that's going on here. There's been some sort of unexpected thought, idea, news, or communication where we or someone we're connecting with is breaking more free from relationships, money, and habits that are holding them back, keeping them stuck in indecision, hesitating, overthinking, overcomplicating the matter, people pleasing, all of that. Okay, not only is that what I think is going on here, but Uranus as well is very forward thinking, right? It's the revolutionary. It doesn't like to stay stuck in the past, in these traditional things that have always gone on here. It's about the future. What is next? What is coming? How can I get there? The next best thing or the next good thing for my situation too. So not only was this some sort of unexpected news, thought, or conversation that we might have had to break free from something, relationships, money, habits that are keeping us stuck, slow, indecision, hesitating, but I think it as well was also an unexpected idea or an unexpected insight that the future is now, or the future is coming, and that we need to move on. We need to move on now into the future, into very unique and innovative ways, or different ways of doing things than we have done before, and that now is the time to do it. And on that note, I think those new innovative things, habits, things that we're moving into are more North Node and Aries, because the North Node is about our future path or our purpose at this time in our lives. And Aries, again, is about doing things shorter, easier, quicker, more independent here. Maybe even less committal. That's going on more in our best interest here as well. So I think it was some of that. Unexpected news, insights. I still have more things to break free from. Relationships, money keeping me stuck, hesitation, overthinking, indecision, and unexpected news, insights about the future, about new habits that we need to be adopting here: faster, quicker, shorter, easier, more independent, all of that. Not only that, but I also want to note another thing that I think was going on here. As well, Scorpio is a lot about our deep desires here, things that we really want. And Taurus is about what our situation needs. They're similar, but they're different. And so I think that this is also as well us aligning those, because sometimes oppositions can help to bring things into balance. I think this is also as well us trying to align here, those things align now that we're ending more things aren't working for us and getting insights about what's next. I think it's us trying to align more of our emotions. Maybe I should have said that first. Scorpio is a water sign, more of our emotions to the future, to what's next, to what's needed here, and to get more on board with it, to want this different approach and to know that we need it. So there's not this inner conflict. It's like, I want and I need to do things differently, because I'm really done with this old stuff here that's going on as well. That, to be honest with you, I think was meant to be helpful. Now, could this feel a little challenging on the surface? Sure. Uranus doesn't really like to be in Taurus, so this could have felt a little challenging in the moment. I'm ending more things. I don't want to end it, or someone end this with me, but I think on the whole, I just get a good vibe from this, especially with the new moon here. This is meant to be for our highest good, whatever was ended, whatever insight we got here to help us move forward. So that's the first thing I want to note here about this energy with the new moon in Scorpio is we recently got, and I think this should have already happened in the few days before this, some unexpected news, thought, conversation, and insight to help us break free from relationships, money, and habits here that are keeping us stuck, hesitating, overthinking, indecision, people pleasing, and to propel us forward into a new mindset and a new approach here that's actually going to be better for us, that's quicker, easier, shorter, more independent, more in our best interest here that's going on, and to align a lot of that and bring a lot of that together and get us emotionally on board and feel more at peace with that, and to want it and to know that we need it, and to kind of bring all that together. That then leads me now to the next thing that I want to mention, also related to this alignment, because not only was Mercury and Scorpio opposing Uranus and Taurus, but it also here at the time of this new moon here is making a trine to Neptune and Pisces. Okay, I also want to see this as somewhat of a helpful thing. I tend to interpret trines a little more positively. What is the helpful thing going on here? Well, let's start back at that Mercury and Scorpio, which we've already been talking about. This was some kind of news or thought or conversation to break free from something here with relationships and money might have required a change with the Scorpio stuff. And it's connecting with Neptune and Pisces. Neptune's the ruler of Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It is about releasing old things. It's about letting things go, that are no longer serving us, the final goodbye, especially with Scorpio too, being about change and transformation. So I think it's a lot of that. Not only that, but too, their Pisces is a lot about surrender too. Pisces and Neptune are a lot about surrendering, to the process, to leaving some of these things behind, these old habits that we ended, the relationships and money here as well. And a trine can indicate, that happening more quickly. I don't want to say more quickly trying to leave old habits behind here. So I think that's what I want to say so far. Now to repeat that before I move on to another alignment of what's going on here that sets the stage for this new moon in Scorpio. We unexpectedly have gotten a new thought, insight, news, or conversation that either we initiated or someone initiated with us that we need to break free and end a few more things with relationships, money, our own sense of self, and our habits that are keeping us stuck. People pleasing, hesitation, indecision, feeling stuck. Here, not only did we get some unexpected news and insights that we needed to break free from more things, but we also got some unexpected news or insights here about what we need to do next that's different after this point that's going to be better for us, which is that we need to do things in ways that are shorter, easier, quicker, simpler, more fun, more in our best interest here and all of that. And we started to align more with the fact that that's what is needed right now and to want that as well. And that has then helped us to be more at peace about letting these things go, to be more at peace about things leaving our lives, relationships, money, habits that are no longer good for us, and to surrender to more to that process. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which is going to be here where Mars is. Okay, Mars exactly at this new moon is at the last degree of Cancer here, making an opposition to Pluto and Capricorn. Okay, now this to me is a very difficult alignment. This is a very difficult alignment here because first of all, because it's Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto can be a bit of a challenge here. Pluto because it's an outer planet, and Mars because it's known for being a little more assertive and aggressive. So that can be very difficult. Also too, because it's an opposition, which is usually considered a hard aspect here, and because we're at the last degrees of a sign, which also makes things even more intense. And Mars is in Cancer, a sign it doesn't like to be in. So this to me can be very, very difficult. What is the difficulty that's going on? Well, Mars is about action, let's say that, and Mars correlates to Aries, right, where the North Node is, which is acting in this different way, this unique, innovative approach that we're getting, which is doing things shorter, easier, quicker, independent, more fun, more in our best interest, right? We're trying to do that. Mars is trying to do that. Okay, because it's connecting to the North Node here. And not only is it trying to do that, but Cancer is a lot about grounding. It's trying to get grounded in that solid and that a firm foundation of like, this is what I'm going to do and this is how we're going to do it. And the 29th degree is challenging that. We're maybe not feeling as grounded as we want to be in this different approach, even though we're aligning with it, surrendering to it more, realizing that this is more of what's needed. Not only that, Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer. Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer because, again, Mars is about action and doing things, and Cancer is a lot about safety here. And sometimes when you do things and when things are important, if you're constantly worried about safety, it can bring fear. A lot of fear. You don't do the things that you need to do here, or you don't attack them head on. And remember, Cancer is correlated to the crab. You can kind of move sideways or act in weird ways as well. Here. So there's part of that challenge. We know what we need to do now. I think that's what's been happening with the last alignments. What we need to do is becoming crystal clear. What needs to end, what needs to happen, but there's still a lot of fear and lack of safety around doing these things in this different way. They still feel uncomfortable and they still feel a bit ungrounded, right? Because they're so new, this different way of doing things. Not only that, but we've got the opposition to Pluto here in Capricorn, and an opposition can be quite literal. There's also some opposition happening to these things that we're trying to do, making it hard for us to do them. What is that here? Well, we've got Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn, sometimes Pluto, maybe I'll start there, can take things too much in too much of a direction here that's happening. And Capricorn is a lot about structure. It's a lot about tradition, maybe even control, I might say there as well. So this can make us, because we don't feel super grounded, right? Do you see with the Mars in Cancer? Because we don't feel super grounded in this new approach, maybe start to feel like we need to over control the situation or over and structure the situation. And Pluto too can bring us backwards, may tempt us backwards again into some old habits and bring up some more old fears. There's a lot of fear. Pluto can also bring fear and subconscious stuff to the surface. In addition to that, another thought about Capricorn, right? Pluto tends to bring things too much in an area, and Capricorn sometimes can ignore the emotions, right? It's Saturn ruled, it's an Earth, doesn't want to deal with the emotions get in the way. So another thing that could be going on here, if this isn't bringing up a lot of fear around this new approach, we're now realizing we need to do and getting insights for, and a lot of unsafety around it and hesitation, acting in weird ways and over controlling, then this can also bring a tuning out the emotions as well. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to ignore what I'm feeling. I'm just going to ignore that I'm uncomfortable. I'm just going to ignore the situations that I don't like here as well that's going on. That can also create some issues. It can create a lot of intense emotions, okay, Mars is in Cancer, right? Can bring up a lot of, and Pluto can be very intense as well, can bring up a lot of intense negative emotions here of like, I'm trying to do something good for myself. I finally know what I need to do, but now all these old issues keep playing again in my head on repeat, now I'm afraid, and like, what the heck, it can bring up a lot of internal frustration like that's going on. Not only can this bring up a lot of internal frustration, which can be anger or sadness, can really run a range. Mars can be anger, but Mars in Cancer is a little more sadness, passive aggressive. So it can bring up a lot of that anger at yourself, passive aggressiveness, things like that. It can also bring anger directed at other people here as well. Too. Now, do I think the issue is really about other people? I said this in my last video. I'll say it again. I don't. I think the issue is not about other people. It's more about you here at this time, especially if we've broken free from some things that aren't working for us. But we can be taking our anger out on other people. That can create some arguments or conflicts, or just make things be a bit difficult and uncomfortable there. Okay, so that's what I want to say with that, right? To bring it together before I'm going to go to the new moon next. What's going on here? We recently have gotten a sudden unexpected insight news conversation about something that we needed to break free from, or someone needed to break free from with us in regards to relationships, money, and habits that are keeping us stuck in overthinking, hesitating, indecision, all of that. Here, not only did we receive some unexpected news about that, but we also, as a result of that, received some unexpected insight about what really needs to happen next in our future to help us move forward, which is that we need to do things more independently, quicker, shorter, easier, more in our best interest. Here, which may have been a little uncomfortable at first, but was really in our best interest, helping us to get more clear on what needs to happen in our situation, feel more emotionally aligned with it, and surrender to the process here, and surrender to this new approach that's needed. But the more we try to move forward into this new, unique, innovative approach, doing things quicker, easier, shorter, faster, more in our best interest, more fears come up. More fears come up. The same fears we've been trying to combat for months. More fears come up around doing things quicker, shorter, easier, and faster, because it feels so new. It feels so different. It feels unsafe. It feels not what we're used to doing here, making us want to either not do anything at all, or do things in weird ways, do things sideways, or over control the situation, or just ignore it all and try to grind it out and things like that. Here, that's going on. That can just create more difficulty, a lot of intense, uncomfortable feelings within ourselves, anger at ourselves, or just sadness towards ourselves, or us taking out some of our inner emotions on other people, anger and passive aggressiveness towards other people, even though I don't think people are the real issue, because we just ended some things with them that wasn't working here. And that then leads me now to the next element I want to mention, which is going to be this new moon in Scorpio here, of course, which is what this chart is set for. Okay, what is that about? Again, new moons, new beginnings, new energy, fresh starts, Scorpio. Permanent change and transformation is what it's about. Not only that, but I think that Scorpio is a fighter, can be a fighter, willing to face things head on, even the hard things of life, even the things that aren't pretty, since Scorpio does have a lot to do, with taboo topics, death, taxes, things like that here that's going on. So I think what this new moon in Scorpio is doing is it's giving us the inner drive, the inner strength, that fighting spirit to say, I'm afraid. I'm trying to do things in a different way, shorter, easier, quicker. I'm afraid, but I'm not going to let fear stop me. I'm not going to let fear stop me. I'm not going to let my old fears bring me down. I'm not going to fall backwards. I'm not going to fall backwards into these old habits of overthinking, hesitating. This new moon in Scorpio is bringing us this inner drive to be like, I'm afraid. I got issues when it comes to acting. I'm not going to let them stop me. I'm going to do what I need to do anyways to move on in this different approach for me, because I know it's going to be best for me. I know it's what I want. I know it's what I need to happen. Okay? Not only that, but I also want to note as well is that Scorpio is a water sign, which is emotional. It's a lot about dealing with the emotions, especially deep emotions like subconscious triggers. I think Scorpio does the subconscious triggers better than the other water signs here as well. So I think not only is this new moon in Scorpio saying, I'm afraid of behaving in this new way, shorter, easier, quicker, but I'm going to do it anyways here because that's what I need to do. And I'm not going to fall backwards and let these things get the best of me. But this new moon in Scorpio is going to help us face the emotions head on, the emotional triggers around this new approach, and to really get to the root cause of why we're afraid and to heal that and to work through that. Because the answer is not ignoring the emotions. Remember I said with Pluto, Mars opposite Pluto and Capricorn, we may want to ignore the emotions and just keep on trying to just do normal stuff, or to just keep on trying to do the new approach or whatever it is. No, we need to honor the emotions. So the new moon in Scorpio gets that. We can't let these old things keep getting us down, preventing us from doing things in this different way. We have to move forward and we have to fight these old things. And the way to move forward in an enduring way in this new approach, shorter, easier, quicker, is not to ignore the underlying emotional issues that are going on here, but it's to face those issues head on, our emotions, and to wrestle with our emotions and to work through those things. Okay, now is this as empowering as I'm making it sound? I do think this Scorpio new moon is meant to be empowering here, because Pluto's a lot about the phoenix rising from the ashes here. There's a lot about empowerment with Scorpio, but I do need to note the moon doesn't really care to be in Scorpio, which is a part of this new moon. So before the empowerment comes, there's an inner struggle here that's going on. So again, this may bring up a lot of intense emotions, especially with that Mars opposite Pluto here, but it's meant to empower us. And really fighting against things that are keeping us stuck is not about the absence of struggle, right? I said that we're fighting against things that are keeping us stuck. It's not about the absence of struggle. It's about the courage to work through the struggle. So that's what I want to note here. This doesn't mean all our issues are going to go away. I think they're going to linger, and I think they're going to linger for a few months when it comes to doing new things. This is us just getting the strength to fight for progress, to fight for a new way of doing things here, and to confront head on any of the issues in the way, especially the emotional ones, so that they don't continue to bring us down and get to the root cause of that. Okay, so I hope it's becoming clear here. Unexpected recently, insights, news to break free from more things, relationships, money, habits that are keeping us stuck, hesitation, overthinking, people pleasing, indecision, holding us back. Not only that, but we've also recently gotten unexpected ideas about what needs to happen next to move forward into our future, which is to do things shorter, easier way that's in our best interest. And we've started to align more with that emotionally, become more at peace and more clear on that's what needs to be happen, and surrender to the process. And the more that we do things in this new way, shorter, easier, quicker, more fears come up. More fears come up about this shorter, quicker, easier approach that's making us feel scared to do it because it's so new, it's so different, it's uncomfortable. We haven't been doing it for a while, making us either want to hesitate or not do anything, or pretend that we're not feeling a certain way and just go on about our business, or act in weird ways that can just create a lot of weird emotions here because we're not really, still haven't really gotten to where we need to be. And instead of us being a little wallflower, like maybe we have been the past few months, oh, life is so hard, all this, instead of us being the wallflower, what's happened at this new moon in Scorpio is we're fighting back and we're saying, I'm not going to let this fear stop me from doing what I need to do. I'm not going to let this fear stop me from moving forward and what's in my best interest. And I'm going to confront it head on and the real emotional issue creating the fear to get to the bottom of it so that I can do what is in my best interest and what's going to move my life forward. Okay. Even if it's a little intense. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which is going to be the fact that this new moon in Scorpio is making a trine to Saturn and Pisces. Okay, what is that about? I see that as more of a helpful thing. Trines I tend to interpret in a more positive way. Saturn is about commitment. It's about decisions. Here, especially to release old things. Pisces is also a water sign, to work through the emotions. So not only do I think that this new moon is about us getting more of the fight to say, I'm not going to fall back into these old habits. I'm going to stand up for what I know is best for me, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to deal with the real emotional cause. But it's us making a long-term commitment, especially with Scorpio 2 being a fixed sign, a long-term commitment and a firm decision to say, I'm going to do what I know I need to do, and I'm going to draw a line in the sand, even if it's hard, even if I wake up every day and I'm afraid and I have to fight the fear, okay, in order for us to move on, okay. Here. Now, I want to note as well, I think that's going to happen naturally. Maybe I should say that. I think that's going to happen naturally here, where there's going to be this inner survival instinct or this inner drive that's going to emerge here, because I think Scorpio can be pretty instinctual. But if that doesn't happen naturally, then I'm going to tell you right now, this is the advice. The advice is to is to know you're afraid, to do things shorter, easier, quicker here, but to do things in a shorter, easier, quicker way anyways, even if you're afraid, and to commit long-term to doing it. And not only to do it anyways, this different approach, even if you're afraid, but to commit to dealing with the emotions and to better understanding the real emotional reason why you're afraid, to do whatever that is for you, to exploring those. So that's a journey, right? Especially because Mars is going to go retrograde in Cancer. That's a journey to explore more of the journey about why the emotions are afraid of doing the things that you need to do. Here, that's going on. Okay. Because if you can do that, I think things are gonna be much better. Okay, and that's gonna lead me now to the next alignment that I want to mention. Moving to the end here, we've got Venus and Sagittarius making opposition to Jupiter and Gemini. Now, I don't really care for Jupiter and Gemini too much. Jupiter doesn't really like to be in Gemini, but it is still Jupiter at the end of the day. So there's still a little bit of a silver lining here that I'm going to consider to make this a positive alignment. What is the good thing going on here? Well, we've got Venus about relationships, money, our own sense of self as well. It's in Sagittarius, which is about doing things in new and different ways. Not only is Sagittarius about doing things in new and different ways, it's also a glass half full kind of sign. It's optimistic, rose-colored glasses, hopeful. I also consider it to be a little more courageous as well, being a fire sign too. That's going on. It's also connecting to Jupiter, the ruler of Sag, which is optimistic here too, hopeful. So a lot of that energy going on. And Jupiter's in Gemini bringing a lot of new thoughts, a lot of new ideas about that. Not only is Jupiter and Gemini bringing just hopeful thoughts and hopeful ideas here, but Gemini is also about settling into something, adapting to something, making it more familiar. So not only is this alignment giving us just more hope, courage, that we're going to figure it out, or, we're going to be afraid, we're going to have some fears, we're going to have to fight, we're going to have to understand, but it's all going to be okay, we're going to work it out, bringing that rose-colored glasses to really help us move forward, I think, and not only helping us out to move forward, but also helping to take some of that pressure off here, to help us feel like we are adapting, we are starting to make progress here in the ways that it is that we need. We just needed to make that commitment, right? You just need to make that commitment to face the fear, and then all of a sudden, I can do it. It's working. I can do it. It's working. I'm adapting. I'm figuring it out. Here, that's happening at that time, especially with Mars. I need to note about to enter Leo in the days after this as well, helping us also to get that courage, that fighting spirit, the lion, to do, what we need to move our lives forward here. That's happening. Okay. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say here. About the aspects for today. Okay, because that's it, I'm just going to repeat that one last time here before we move on. So let me do that now. What I think is going on at this new moon in Scorpio here is that we are getting, or may have in the days prior to this, gotten an unexpected news, conversation, thought, or insight that we initiated or someone initiated with us about more things we needed to break free from an end with relationships, money, our own sense of self, or habits that are keeping us stuck and overthinking, hesitating, people pleasing, and indecision. Here, not only did we get more unexpected news about that, but we also got more unexpected news and ideas about what's next for us in our future and how we need to proceed next in a better way that's more in alignment with us, which is to do things in ways that are shorter, easier, quicker, simpler, more fun, and more in our best interest here. And we started to become more at peace with that process, more on board with it, and surrender more to it, which was lovely. But the more that we start to move forward in this different way of life, unique, innovative, future, that's faster, easier, quicker, more independent, more in our best interest, and simpler, I think more fears start to come up to the surface around this different approach that really we've been trying to battle for a few weeks or months. More fears, the same fears, I think, from the past continue to come up. around this new approach to life, that shorter, easier, quicker that we want, that's hard for us and makes us feel unsafe and uncomfortable in this different approach and ungrounded with it. It may bring out a whole bunch of weird reactions, which can create more feelings of hesitation, more feelings of stuckness here that's going on. It can maybe make us want to over control the situation or just want to ignore our emotions and pretend everything's okay, which can bring a lot of intense internal emotion, passive aggressiveness, or anger, especially at ourselves, that we may take out on other people unjustly here. At this time. And even though we're feeling really uncomfortable and really intense and a lot of old fears around this new approach are coming back, instead of us being a wallflower like maybe we have been the past few months and just letting it happen, what is going on here at this new moon in Scorpio is that we are getting the inner fortitude, the inner strength, the inner wherewithal to not let this fear hold us down, to not let the fear hold us down, to not let these old past issues hold us down, and to move forward anyways here into the new experience, the new behavior, shorter, easier, quicker here, and to fight anything in our way that's stopping us to do it, and to get to the root cause of why we're feeling unsafe, why we're feeling uncomfortable, which is our emotions, and to wrestle with our emotions here and to get to the bottom of that so that we can move forward here. And not only are we doing that, but I think we're also making a long-term commitment to that struggle, however long it takes for us to come out victorious, to fighting these fears in order for us to move forward here, which I think is then helping us to feel more optimistic about our situation, more courageous, more hopeful here, and to feel like we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to make progress and are adapting better to our situation. And I think a lot of that's going to happen naturally, that we're going to get that inner drive, that fighting spirit. But if it doesn't happen naturally, then that's the advice: to feel the fear and not let it get you down, to feel the fear and keep on moving forward in this different way, and to decide to do that, and to take the time to go into your emotions to get to the root cause of why you're afraid in order to work it out. Okay. And that's it. Now what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to say a few other thoughts here at this point in the video about the energy in a more conversational way, because I have a very structure that I use for the other parts. I'm just going to say that I think the first thing that's coming to me now in terms of other notes is the advice is twofold. Well, I think the message of this new moon in Scorpio, which I'm also giving as advice, is twofold. And the twofold message here is that at this new moon in Scorpio, we're getting more of the drive, right, to move into the new, the drive to the new, to move into the new habits, the new way of life here, and the courage and the strength to do it. Okay. And that new way of life, I need to note, is to do things in a way that's shorter, easier, quicker, simpler, more in our best interest, more independent, and I think less committal here as well. Okay. That's what's going on. Not only are we getting the drive to do that at this new moon, but the second thing that's also important, we're getting the drive to fight anything in the way of that. And I think the main thing in the way of that is not a person anymore. It's not a place anymore. It's not a thing. I think the main thing in the way of that here is our own selves, is our own emotions, that are scared and that don't feel safe, so we're getting also not only the drive to do things in a new way and the courage to do that, but the courage to also fight anything from the past, especially emotionally, internally. That's huge here. That's holding us down, and to get to the root cause of that, no matter how long it takes. That's also a key. No matter how long it takes. If it takes days, good. If it takes weeks, fine. If it takes months, that's okay too. And it's going to take months, okay? Because Mars is going to go retrograde throughout all of this. It's going to take months. It's going to take us till about February here to do it. But this is us getting the drive to try the new and the courage to fight the old and to contend with the emotions there. Okay. Other thoughts that I want to add here is that this is a key part, right? I think I want to emphasize more about the emotions, because remember, the Pluto in Capricorn can have a tendency to ignore the emotions. Oh, I'm just going to keep doing things in a quicker, shorter, easier, simpler way, and I'm just going to ignore the emotional component, the emotional fears. And I want to say that's a big X. That's the wrong way to do it. And that's why I want to emphasize the second point here. There's two. This new moon in Scorpio is not just I'm going to do the new anyway and ignore my emotions. I'm not just going to do the new stuff and ignore the fact that I'm scared about it. It's I'm going to do the new stuff, and I'm going to try to help my emotions and understand my emotions and wrestle with my emotions while I'm doing it, while I'm moving forward. Here, that's going on. It's both, because ignoring your emotions does not solve an issue. Ignoring your emotions does not create real, long-lasting, permanent change, which is why Scorpio is a water sign. Real change has to do with your emotions, you know? And so if you're just saying, oh, I'm going to do things in a shorter, easier, quicker way, but I'm not going to deal with any of the emotional issues surrounding that, then doing things in a quicker, shorter, and easier way is only temporary for you. It's in the things that you're going to do that are shorter, easier, quicker are not going to last because you're not dealing with the real emotional causes here. Okay, so I think that's what I want to say here. It's twofold that's going on here. You can't do one without the other. It needs both right now. We need to have the drive to keep doing the new stuff, shorter, easier, quicker, simpler, while at the same time we are dealing with the emotional fears and honoring those and trying to figure out how we can work through those here so that the change to do things in this different way is permanent. Okay, what else do I want to say? How long? Maybe I should give you a note here. How long do I think this is going to take? Because another key part, maybe there's a third key part. Another third key part here is the commitment of over time to doing it, right? Because I think another thing I want to note is, and give a little more detail on, is that this is not going to be resolved overnight. Us all of a sudden at this new moon in Scorpio saying, oh, I'm going to do the new and I'm going to confront the emotions and wrestle with those isn't going to resolve the issue overnight. We're going to need a few months to do this because Mars is eventually going to go retrograde, I think in December, and here from Leo back into Cancer where the emotions are, and really won't be done. Really won't be done until about February. So someone just rang my doorbell. So I think that these issues, resolving these emotional issues, is going to take us a few months to do. It's not going to be done all at once. It's probably going to take us from now, but especially December to like February or March of next year. So another key component here is the commitment over time, and to not expecting a quick win here in order to do it. And I think a part of maybe on the quick win here is that, again, permanent change is not a quick win. If you want a quick win, you're not looking for permanent change. You're looking for something else here that's going on. You know, real change takes commitment. It takes time. We need to be in it here for the whole time. Okay, what now I want to offer might some of these emotional issues be, or challenges around these new behaviors here that are coming up? Let me maybe give more detail on that we're trying to fight with and work through now and until next February or March. Okay, I think some of it are issues we've already discussed, especially while Mercury was retrograde in Virgo, because some of these things are coming up from the past, you know, especially with Pluto at the last degree of a sign. This can be a lot of old issues from the past coming up. This can be a lot of guilt and shame for doing things in a way that's faster, easier, quicker, and simple. I feel guilty if I make things easier for me. I feel shameful. Why should life be easy for me when it wasn't before, when it's not for someone else? So I think there's a lot of that that's going on. Not only is there a lot of guilt and shame for that, I think there's also maybe too, what's happening is our identity. You know, Cancer, where Mars is eventually going to go retrograde, does have a lot to do about the core of our being, our foundation, you know, how we see ourselves from the inside out. So I think a part of it is like these behaviors don't feel like us. They feel foreign. They feel different. They feel like we're watching somebody else. We're watching a movie of somebody else that's not us. You know, so I think some of it too is going to be some issues around that. This doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like who I've been for a long time. I think part of some issues too are going to be some of the Libra issues, the people pleasing. Oh, well, if I do this thing, you know, and I do it so easily, what if, you know, another person doesn't like it? Or what if they're jealous? Or why is it easy for me when I couldn't? And why am I supposed to do it alone when I'm not doing it with them? And does it make me a bad person if I'm going to do things alone, you know, or if I'm going to do things easier? So I think there's a lot of that that's going on here. Maybe there's also some issues too around like a lack of commitment here as well. That could be going on too. Is that we could be feeling like, well, we should commit more. We should commit more to our ideas or plan for something more long term. But I think with the Jupiter and Gemini and the Aries, we're meant to do something that's not as long term, that's not as future, that's not as far out, something that's kind of shorter and simpler. So I think there can be some of that there. We've also got Mars eventually going to move into Leo. Leo does have a lot to do with courage and putting ourselves out there. So I think there's a lot of fear of putting ourselves out there. I think it's a lot of that too. I think these are all the issues that have been going on that are coming back. They're coming back now at this full new moon because they haven't been fully dealt with. So this new moon is trying to get us to more fully deal with those here in the ways that it is that we need. Okay. Not only that, but what is the way to deal with these emotions that's going on, right? If we're confronting them head on, what is the way to deal with them here? Well, the way to deal with these emotions, I need to note, is going to be unique to you and is what we're going to spend the next few months figuring out, from now to February and March. But I think the way to deal with a lot of these emotions is going to be through nurturing ourselves, right? That's Cancer, is through nurturing ourselves and trying our best to create safe spaces while we still do things that are out of our comfort zone at the same time. So I think it's a little bit of both. I'm going to do something that feels uncomfortable, and then after I do it, I'm going to nurture myself through it. I'm going to do something really kind to myself to make myself feel safe. I think it's probably something like that might be needed. Arrow, quiet, hun. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, I think that's all I'm going to say because the doorbell, the dog made me frustrated. This video has gone on kind of long. So what I'm going to do now is read the insight decrees. Let's look at that. Okay. The new moon is in Scorpio here at 9 degrees. So I think that one, 8, 9, and 10 can all be relevant. Okay, let's read the inside degrees. They weren't written by me. They're written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, but I think that they can be helpful to give more information about what's going on. Okay, so let's look at Scorpio 8. It's a split down the middle between advanced and retrogressive dynamics, karmically a hybrid mixed from opposite sides that seldom go together. Okay, I feel like that makes sense with the interpretation that I've given you so far in this video. There's a part of us that's ready to move on, new habits, faster, easier, quicker, shorter, and there's another part of us that is feeling fear and tempted backwards. Okay, that we've got these two opposite sides that are fighting us. Okay. Now we've got grafting onto an exceedingly inward nature, a pointed and driving ambition to become somebody, yet your inward nature contains within it a host of retrogressive poles of great power and intensity, and your newfound footing in the world of self-mastery is tense and pressurized by the shadows of the past. Okay, so this to me continues to emphasize, right? There's two parts of us. One wants to move forward, one's stuck in the past here, but it also it indicates there's a little bit of a power struggle, that's trying to go on. Not only are we pulled backwards between the past and the future, but we are struggling with it, and struggle, I might, fighting with it. I might use the word fighting with it here as well. It also says here the newfound footing, and that to me is one of the key issues here, is that this new approach still doesn't feel solid and still doesn't feel like us, so I think it indicates some of the issue there. Okay. Let's read on. It says, a titanic battle waged behind the scenes between wisdom and folly, both of them bearing immense lessons to move through. There we are, the battle, the fighting. We're fighting these demons that are holding us down because we do not want to go back, to these old habits. Okay, the folly is a crucial ingredient to ensure that the attainment of wisdom will also feature compassion and bone-deep endurance. A journey for the long haul, contested at every split second. Okay, let's stop there. I like this. The folly, okay, the attainment of wisdom will feature compassion and endurance. And endurance to me means sustained effort, sustained commitment, committed effort in order to work through these things. So I think that's also another thing I'm getting here. It's going to take endurance, sustained effort over the course of the next few months to really get us to where we want to go, okay? A journey for the long haul, right? Requiring a lot of courage and strength and inner will, which I think we're starting to get up. Okay, next I'm going to read Scorpio 9, which is the degree of the new moon. It says complex nature, containing within yourself an extra spiral of self-obsession and ultimately superlative capacity, subjecting yourself to grueling ordeals, rite of passage, knowing that if you can eliminate your stark weakness, you can grab hold of your boundless strength. Okay. What does this mean to me? It means to me also that I think that there is an ordeal, right? There is a fight going on within ourselves between the old and the new and all of that here. But I think there's an inner knowing. I really do. Knowing that if you can eliminate, I think there's an inner knowing that's emerging of like, if I can just do this, if I can just work through my fear, in order to do, then I'm going to be fine. Then I'm going to be able to grasp hold of boundless strength. Then I'm going to be able to step into my power here. Okay. So I think there's an inner knowing here that we need, that this is going to be a struggle, but that this struggle is going to be good to get us to eventually where we need to go, which is going to be next year sometime, after this Mars retrograde, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, which I like. Okay, the weakness is that you refuse to believe in yourself, and this is a hard one to uproot. You must, against the grain, find any and every possible way to get around your own adamant self-rejection. The weakness is based upon karmic past experiences in which you failed yourself. Now you assume it will happen again. So if some of you were wondering what more of the emotional issues are, this could also indicate that some of the emotional issues around acting in this way that's shorter, easier, and quicker here is that it just like hasn't worked before. It hasn't worked before. You tried to do things in easier ways before, it didn't come together. You tried to do it this, and just assuming it will happen again, and also a lack of belief in yourself. Okay, some of that too. So that might also be what some of you need to work through. How can I believe more in myself and not let my past dictate my future? Right? Read on. It says, so building up strength and courage inside toward self-overcoming is the path. And paradoxically, in order to forge such a deepening of life will, you must endanger yourself and expose yourself to radical crises in order to rally to your own side and come into your truth in the midst of cutting through your falsehood and reclaiming selfhood. Okay, so I think this degree to me indicates there's an issue. One side is wants to move forward, another side is afraid of moving forward. Here that's very intense, and we're getting the inner knowing that we have to go through this fight. We have to go through this battle within ourselves in order to get somewhere good on the other side, and we have to fight our fear around this new approach. Okay, because it's what's ultimately going to lead to our empowerment after Mars retrograde, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, like that of next year. Okay. Let's see this. Scorpio 10. Destructive patterns come around to regenerative places when they are persisted in tenaciously, with an eye towards the destructive patterns destroying themselves. Okay. What does that mean to me? We got to let go of these things from the past. We got to let these things from the past kind of play themselves out and get rid of those. Immense wells of misery has accompanied you through the miasmas of being viciously against yourself. And when the misery and the hatred have spent their wastage and their fury, the inner core self arises unscathed and incorporates the darkness and the anguish into the ability to raise the dead, to generate miracles, to face everybody with the unfaceable. The veteran of severe internal battles turns around and acknowledges that there's something burning at the center of your being, an essence spark, which is immortal and can survive and flourish in the thick of the worst. What does this mean to me? This means to me that this inner battle is going to lead to your empowerment. It is. There's going to be something beautiful on the other side of it here that I think is especially going to come next year, but that you may be starting to feel little sparks of now. Okay. So I think that's what I get from there. Part of you wants to move forward, new habits. Part of us is still fearful, stuck in the past because we don't know if it's going to work. All of that. Hard, but there's an inner knowing that we have to fight this battle now, this inner struggle. We can't let it go on any longer here in us doing it. And if we can do it, it's going to lead to our empowerment on the other side. Very good alignments, March to September of next year that we haven't seen, especially not since 2020. So you're going to get a lot of good horoscopes from me then here, and to be on the lookout for that. Okay. Other things I want to note here that I didn't say earlier, now that the barking, the doorbell has stopped. Another thought that I want to say before I pull your card here. Why are we trying to do things in this shorter, easier, quicker way that's simpler, that's independent, that's less committal, that's in our best interest, right? Because that's really what we're fighting for. We're fighting to do things shorter, easier, quicker, simple, fun in our best interest, right? That's what we're trying to do here. If that wasn't clear before, why is that so important here? I think I've said it in a few videos in the past, a little bit during the context of this video, but in case some of you that's been lost here, the reason why we need to do things in a shorter, quicker, easier, more fun, simpler way is for a few reasons, okay? One of the reasons here is because we're moving into a new and better experience of life. That's what we've been talking about. When you're moving into a new and better experience of life, you don't know what you're doing because it's new, okay? You don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you do not want to make long drawn out commitments to people and things here. Because if it doesn't work because you don't know what you're doing and you've made a long commitment to another person, it's very hard to get out of. Short, easy, quick, simple, so that if it doesn't work, not a big deal. Try something else. Try something else. We got lots of ideas with the Jupiter and Gemini. We got lots of ideas. Try something else, right? That's why you want to do it. Another reason why we want to do things in the shorter, easier, quicker way that's more fun as well is because, again, it's more fun. When you do things shorter, quicker, and easier, it's not like, oh, I got to do something. It's going to take a while. Life sucks. When you do things that are shorter, quicker, and easier, it is more fun. And the whole point of going into a new and better experience of life is to like it. A new experience of life is not better if our heart is not in it, if it's not fun, if there's not some sort of enjoyment there, or if there's not something we can connect our hearts to. So another reason why we need to do things in a shorter, quicker, easier way here that's going on is not just to do it here, it's to make life more enjoyable, to make life happier, which is what a new experience is really all about here that's going on, And another reason why too, you just got to do it less encumbered. We need the freedom to make mistakes and to figure things out. Okay. Another thought that I want to say here as well is that this is going to take, right? Is that we're going to struggle with this. We're going to struggle with this while Mars is retrograde from now to December, December-ish to February and March of next year. Okay, but once we're done with this struggle, we're going to rise from the ashes, empowered. I keep saying it, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. We're going to rise from the ashes here, and we're going to be having so much more fun in life, be making so much more progress in life than we've had, and being able to finally move forward since 2020. Remember, if you've been listening to my horoscopes, especially the context, since 2020, it's been stop and go, stop and go. We're trying to move forward, we can't. We're trying to move forward, we can't. No, not after this. Not after this. Not after these next 5 months or whatever it is from now until March. Not after these next 5 months. No more falling backwards. After these next few months of Mars retrograde, March of next year, moving forward in the new experience. In the new way, good progress happening, and not only good progress happening, real progress, solid progress, very significant progress happening. Not just it's finally going to be moving forward, and not only are we finally going to be moving forward and we're finally going to be making real progress, but the progress is going to be significant, because remember I said there was some sort of progress that happened the beginning of this year, Jupiter conjunct Uranus in 2024. That was teeny tiny. That was teeny tiny compared to what is going to happen next year. Okay, next year, huge progress, huge forward momentum into a very different experience of life. Okay, that's going on. Very solid, very real, very significant. Now, does that mean there aren't going to be some more details we're going to have to take care of? There's going to be a few details we're going to have to get in place next year to take care of a lot of stuff here, but it's going to be very good, ways we haven't seen. We just got to get through this first and to remain hopeful. Okay. So keep that in mind here. And the shorter, quicker, easier approach is going to be what's going to get you unstuck from the past few years and create this progress here that's going on. And us fighting our resistances to that is what's needed here in order for us to make it happen. Okay. Because I think for so long we've been so afraid to make things quick and easy because everything's been so complicated and hard. And now we need to do it. So that's what I'm seeing here. Next few months, Mars retrograde, fighting once and for all the final resistances to shorter, easier, quicker. And then March, April, May, June, July, August, September next year, easy, quicker, fast, things coming together, things working out very well, solid. That's very nice. And then probably September, October, November, December of next year, taking care of a few more details, getting the final pieces into place. Okay. So that's what I'm going to say there. And I'm going to go ahead and play your card, the Tower, upright. And we've got at the bottom of the deck, the Page of Wands, upright. Okay, what is this about? The Tower can indicate things feeling a little crazy, things feeling like they're either falling apart or all over the place. But I think the thought I get is that if things feel like they're falling apart here, it's so that they can come together. Things are falling apart so that they can come together or fall together in a better way. Especially with the Page of Wands here. The Page of Wands is like new hope, new excitement, new passions. So I think there's the thought. If things feel like they're falling apart or ending or going crazy, it's so that something better can come into place, which it is, and it will, especially if you allow it to over the course of the next few months and don't allow any of your resistances to stop you from it. Okay, not only that, but, the Page of Wands here is very hopeful. The unicorn's looking up. towards the sky. So I think also part of it too is to remain positive throughout this experience, to remain positive and to believe that you can do it, you can succeed, you can move forward, and that you will, because you will, because it's true. Here to help sustain you forward here in the ways that it is that you need, Okay, and I think that's all I'm going to say there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video, share it on YouTube, or subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and go check out transitcal.com with my code Ethereal15. Thank you so much. Happy Halloween. Talk to you later.